Okay, now we're good. So I'm gonna let Staci take over and you can go from there.
Yes, as Ruth said, I am, what you see on that line is Staci Calhoun. That is my government name, but I do go by Staci. Been going by Staci all my life. I have been in permanency planning for 9 years. I started out in permanency planning. I have not moved. This is where I planted my roots, and I love it. Even though it's very, very difficult. As stated, I have been a foster parent. I was a kinship foster parent to some kiddos, my daughter's best friends, about 2017. And then just up until recently into June, I had a kiddo where I was a worker for 5 years, and then things happened so he could come in my home, but unfortunately he went AWOL. That's if any one of y'all deal with kids, teenagers. He went AWOL, and then that stopped the adoption. So I got very far, probably a week or two before the adoption, and he was like, I don't want to be adopted anymore. And he went AWOL. So that's a little background. So if y'all have any frustrations with DHS, I mean, as a foster parent, I share those same frustrations because I have to go through the same stuff that you all have or been through with the same requirements as becoming a foster parent and just following the rules. Even though I was a supervisor, I still had to follow those rules and could not blur the lines of working with DHS and being a foster parent, which can sometimes be very, very hard. But some of the things, I definitely want to take this opportunity that just us having a discussion conversation. And if y'all, want to know more of something, or you can start off there, just let me know what y'all want to know more of. Other than that, I have like a short list. I can go back, but I definitely want it to be like a discussion type thing. But like I said, I work in permanency planning. Basically, permanency planning is after the kids come into custody, the courts bring them into custody, feel like it's best that they become deprived, their parents be given a treatment plan or work services because there's some things in the parents' lives, some behaviors that need to be changed. So it's called permanency planning because my job is to find permanency. And what permanency mean, that's through reunifying with parents. And as you all know, DHS main goal is to always try to reunify with parents. Even at our worst, shocking, and heinous case, we try to still provide that hope to give them services to help change those behaviors, even though a lot of times we're already recommending termination. And you can find, like I said, you can find permanency through reunification, adoption. That's when a lot of permanency is found. And then you can find a permanency through guardianship. That is something that is becoming more common, is doing guardianships for our families, and some of the families who don't want to adopt. Those are options, and those options is either through a non-funded guardianship or a funded guardianship through the Title 30. That's what my role is. Does anybody any questions yet? What permanency does? I understand that y'all have permanency workers. Your permanency workers are coming out to your home every month, should be coming to your house every month, doing those monthly visits. Another thing is that DHS requires in policy is that every quarterly they're doing their unannounced visits. Unannounced visits is not like a gotcha moment. It's just for DHS to see how the home functions on outside of their normal routine or not knowing when DHS is coming. What does your house look like? What does the kids look like during that time? Also, when they're coming out to the home, don't be shocked if they say, hey, can we do a fully walkthrough through your home? You gotta, I'm sorry, one moment. My dog is in my books. Get out. Good boy. Think he was searching for a beef jerky. So if you have a shed in the backyard, don't be shocked if the permanency worker like, hey, can I look in there? Because you wouldn't believe it, even in foster care, children are still maltreated and neglected. So there is a reason why safety issues keep on being piled on to your foster care workers and your permanency specialists, because somewhere in some home something has happened and then they're like, oh, I didn't know, and come to find out they got a kid locked up into a shed and when they thought it was okay. So you don't be surprised when we ask for those walkthroughs or to look through closet, look through things. What we're basically is looking for is just another way of assessing safety. Every month, us supervisors go through the permanency cases. We read through them, we evaluate if they are every month addressing safety and what that looks like. We call it maltreatment in care questions. So those questions that is revolving around discipline, who spends the night, who disciplines the child, how that looks, how you feel, all of those is how we're assessing safety. And every month it is my duties to go in their case, review them, and then ask them follow-up questions so they can know what they need to touch base on the next time that they come out to the home. If there's any concerns in that, I know that we do notify your foster care worker. Me personally, I mean, I am a firm believer. I like to invite the foster care worker to every one of my visits, because at the end of the day, your workers come out monthly, which is amazing. Some of the foster care homes through DHS, they don't go out monthly unless there's a certain circumstances. So I like to have that that secondary worker foster care, so we're all aware of the same information at the same time, and it helps us collaborate together. So I always like to have the foster care worker come with me. That definitely cut down on the amount of visits of different people coming into your home. So it's okay to ask your permanency worker, just like, hey, can I go ahead and schedule your visit next month with the foster care worker? Grant you, yes, DHS schedules is just as busy as the foster care workers, but if it's done in advance, it's always, to me, better to schedule those visits at the end of your monthly visit, so you can always have your support there as well when it's a scheduled family time. Another piece of cases that we have is CPS. CPS is actually Child Protective Services. They are the ones that go out to the family homes and assess to see if there are any safety threats that needs to be addressed and if the kids are safe or unsafe. They're the first line of workers. They're the ones that are out here typing up reports, going to the judge, articulating what the issues is, what those safety threats are, and the reasons why the kids should come into custody or the reason why they should not. There's not always times where a kid comes into custody. This goes to our family-centered services. Family-centered services is basically, there's a few concerns in the home, but it does not rise to the level of safety threats. So we could most likely try to meet the family's needs where they're at, give them tools to start working on their family as a whole while the children are still living in that home. So we do not have to bring them in custody. That process is a very small process. FCS normally lasts about 4 to 6 months. If they are not making any type of changes within those 4 to 6 months, then that's when they go to the court and say, hey, they're not changing the behaviors. The extent of safety is above this, so they're going to recommend them to come into custody. So it changes that case to the permanency case. And then we also have cases where the court feels like it should be a supervision case. A supervision case is meaning that the kids remain home and that DHS is just supervising it while the kids remain in custody. There is court involved. We go to court so they can see what's going on. And once DHS says that everything is okay, then they just go ahead and close the case. Do you have any questions yet? Oh, hold on, let me check the chat. Let me pull up the chat. Okay. With permanency planning, there are things that you all are probably doing that I don't know if you understand. Does anybody know what a Chubb's behavioral health screener are? It's probably let me see. Probably your worker go over and ask, like, is the child clingy? Are they unable to sit still? Do they get angry? Do they steal? These are, it's a behavioral health screener. We call it changed to a Chubb's behavioral screener. And basically what that is an assessment for us to be able to detect any type of need that these children may need for services and treatment. It is very important. If your worker is not doing these screeners, ask for them to be done. If you have children in your home, infants to whatever age, if they have evaluated levels of scores, they possibly qualify for enhanced foster care. There are services that some of these kids probably already are doing. And I can think back to another one of my foster parents that I work with this agency. And the kid is in speech therapy, family therapy, individual therapy, OT. That's 4 services. That kid most likely qualify for the highest level of difficulty of care payments. I know you all are not in this for the money, because it does. I mean, if you are, it's not going to pay you much. The payments are very low. But at the end of the day, we want to ensure that you have the financial needs to help offset some of that cost of missing work, going to these services, and constantly providing that higher level of care without being a therapeutic foster home. EFC basically comes into play when those scores are elevated and these kids need intensive services. Like I said, family services, home-based services, individual therapy, occupational therapy, any type of services that is gonna make this child a little bit better and grab their attention to help their treatment plan, they most likely qualify. And one of the things that help them qualify is that elevated score on those behavioral screeners. If their scores are elevated for more than 3 months, your permanency worker should be recommending EFC services. And that is an additional $400 stipend for the higher level of difficulty of care. It is a little bit more time consuming because you are going to be definitely held accountable for making sure that the children attend those appointments and making sure that you are involved as well. Not only are you involved, but I mean, luckily you have an agency where the workers come out every month, but they will form a safety plan with you. And they're also required to come out every month to provide that additional support. So I do want to make sure that you all have that information on the behavioral health screeners and be very, very honest. I mean, if it's just a one-time situation, I would definitely, even if it's 1 or 2 times at a week, be honest and put that down there. Because at the end of the day, a lot of our kids, especially our infants that that you all deal with, that young population that most of you all have, those behaviors come out sometimes early on. But being in this field, we typically see more behaviors come out during that school age. So, I mean, parents sometimes can deny that they use drugs during the birth. It might not be detected, but any type of drug use, alcohol use during pregnancy definitely can affect the infant early on. And we typically do not recognize that or see that until later on in life. And so if there are small things that we can help right now, I would say is those behavioral screeners, catching it early on. So that's going to be able to set you up long-term if it goes to an adoption and you all adopt, or if they return back home, the families know how to deal with these situations. As foster parents, I don't know if many of you know this, but you all are entitled to travel claims. Travel claims are done if you are transporting the kids to visits with their parents. You are entitled to a payment. I can send that to Ruth to get to you all. There is forms. You do have to be a vendor. So in order for you to be paid, they're going to most likely, if you have not received a foster care payment before, there is 2 forms that you would have to complete. But anything over 20 miles, you basically have access to claim for your mileage. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. Does anybody know what rights as a foster parents that you all have when it comes to the children? Who can tell me something that they feel that they have a right to have, a right to know? Are all y'all from Oklahoma County? Just a show of hands. Y'all can just raise up our all y'all from Oklahoma County.
I say we have 1, 2, 3 from the Oklahoma City office, and then the others are Tulsa and McAllister.
Okay, gotcha. So some of the things that I probably are saying to you, it probably works different sometimes for different county to county. Oklahoma County is a very large county, and we specialize we have specialties all around here. But to go back to what does foster parents have a right to know? And it's anything about these children. You got these children in your house. You have a right to know their medical history. Where they had medical treatment at, any type of formal behavioral stays. I mean, we're coming in a day of age where I'm seeing younger children as the age of 5 being in inpatient treatment. That is pretty young. And sometimes before they even come in the custody, they probably had a previous stay with parents. We don't know, but if they have, only thing we know is to ask. So, that is something that DHS should be asking, parents, what does it look like for their mental health, especially when we're getting kids that have so many behavioral issues or taking a lot of medication when they're first coming into custody. We want to know what that looked like. So you have the right to know all of that information. Request those medical records from DHS, because at the end of the day, majority of you all, and I know systems of care is very prominent, and their expectation is for you all to take those children to those medical appointments. When you do those medical appointments, sometimes I know when I filled them out, I felt a little incompetent when you're asking about birth history of mom and dad. What does this kid possibly have? Because that information is unknown. But if there is a parent on the case, if y'all have a working relationship with that parent or use the Google numbers, it is okay to pick up that phone and either reach out to the worker and ask those questions, or reach out to the parents so they can help you fill out those forms. Psyche evals. You are privy to the child's psyche evals, not the parents. You do not have access to the parent psyche evals. That is confidential information. But if it is a child psyche eval, by all means, ask DHS for it. That is definitely going to help support that child's treatment plan. If there's those children are having any type of issues, it is best for you all to have that information. I see Miss Miles have hopped on. Rhonda Miles have been with this agency for over 20 plus years. And permanency plan, she's done it all. Permanency planning, she is my mentor. I come from her. So she's here, so she can definitely jump in and probably take over this whole interview. Other information that you're privy to is attending those family team meetings. Family team meetings, I highly suggest you all to come in. You all are the one that is caring for these children day to day. You know their behaviors, you know their medical history, you know what they need. So what better way to advocate for that child in your home is to attend those family team meetings. Those family team meetings are facilitated by a DHS specialist. That report is written up and then submitted to the court. So if you have any type of concerns in your home regarding a child, any type of concerns regarding, any barriers, how the case is going, or anything, that is the perfect opportunity to get your voice heard in those family team meetings. As we are coming up on the last, year and a half, we have a lot of family team meetings in which we call the continuum family team meetings. It's like every 60 days, there is a family team meeting. I would highly recommend you to attend every single one of them. Not only advocate for yourself, but definitely be the voice of the child that is in your house. Court reports. Court reports are a little tricky. And it's tricky because it is a very gray area in policy. And I have had to learn the hard way on court reports, where legal had to be involved and provide some insight because there's such a big gray area in policy. In policy, it states that foster parents are entitled to court reports. However, in policy, it also states that foster parents are not entitled to confidential information regarding parents. So if the court reports have any type of confidential information regarding the parents' mental health, drug testing, services, that all is confidential information. Therefore, that information should not be shared with foster parents. Prior to my experience with DHS, it was about 7 years. I've always provided foster parents with foster parent court reports. Up until one incident, I had a father who had a great attorney, and I mean, they used it against me. Like, hey, the parents have this information, the foster parents have that information, and I'm like, yeah, they're a party of the case. They get this stuff. And then Bonnie with our DHS legal is like, no, Staci, you listed out X, Y, and Z on these court reports. That's confidential information. You just broke confidentiality. So that's the hard way. So if the parents' personal information, confidential information is on those reports, then no, we DHS do not provide them. If they're child only court reports, by all means, there's no parents' information on that. If you ask for it, DHS will provide it. Another thing is, and if you come to court, some of you all know that after court, the court will ask you questions in court. And then after court, they will ask for you to wait out outside the court to for them to receive a court minute. The court minutes belong to the court, not DHS. So the court officials would give you a court minute. If you did not show up to court that day, unfortunately, if you reach out to the DHS specialist and you ask for one, if they give it to you, they most likely don't know policy. But if they don't, do not take it personal, because at the end of the day, those are not our information to give out. It's not DHS's information to give out. Court minutes is property of the court. So that should be coming from an attorney, the child's attorney, the DA, or the judge themselves, giving it to the bailiff to pass out to you. If you come to court, you will get a court minute. If you do not come to court, then DHS would not share that information, that actual report with you. They can let you know the status of what's going on in court or what happened in court, but we cannot provide that official documents. Another thing is foster parents can write their own court reports to the court. It's a form that you can just write to the courts. I always suggest that, 2 weeks before those court hearings, you all write it up and give that to your permanency worker, email it to your permanency worker, attach photos. It always helps for the judge to put a face with some of these reports so they can know, hey, this kid goes with this case. So it's not just a number. It's not just a JD number. It's not just a JDL number. It is a person. It is a child attached to this. They're able to see it. So that's kind of like playing, I like to say, playing on those emotional strings of the courts when you're attaching that picture, so they can, at the end of the day, be reminded, we still need to make the best decision for this child right here. And they're able to see that picture. Makes it a little bit more personal. I can get you all, I can get Ruth a copy of that foster parent, resource parent court report. It is even if you don't come to court, it is a best thing to still get your voice heard. And it's not coming third party, because all day, every day, I can write foster parent report X, Y, and Z. But when the report is coming directly to you, the information cannot be misconstrued. It's no longer third party information. It's direct information from the party itself. I highly recommend you all to do those reports, and it definitely gives a better insight on, how the children are doing. If you all are doing those, any type of bridging with the parents, that's definitely going to give you credit for all the work you all are doing with these parents. Because a lot of times it's a stigmatism, as if like, oh, our foster parents are not really bridging, which a lot of you all are. If y'all are doing text messages, FaceTimes, sending pictures, that is bridging. So that information can be provided to the court so they can see what you all are doing. Any questions? Any questions? No. All right, y'all are a very quiet group. Let me see, is there anything else? Court reports, family team meetings, case updates. Yes. If y'all have a question, ask it. If y'all want to know something, ask your permanency worker. If y'all have any type of concerns, like I said, it's best not only to ask it, but also attend those family team meetings so you can be able to adjust it all as a team when everybody is there. One of the things that I think I forgot to, that I think I've left off is family time plans. That is something that we used to call it visitation plans, or a visitation schedule. Visitation plans, please be a part of that. You're able to collaborate with DHS, with that specialist. If you all are not transporting, or even if you're transporting, you all are part of that by speaking with the child welfare specialist, so everybody can know what the expectations are, what that family time should look like, what the families is responsible, the parents is responsible for bringing, what times, who all will be there. If there's any type of phone calls going on, I highly recommend doing weekly phone calls if there's children that are able to talk, or even just by sending, like I said, photos or anything like that. I would highly suggest you all get that written out so everybody is aware. That form should be also going to the court so the court knows what the expectations are. Family time is weekly. It's normally weekly for an hour, unless it is suggested or court ordered otherwise by the court, or if parents are making changes in their behaviors and doing well, we increase and we change it from either unsupervised, monitored, or supervised. So we have different stages of family time plans, and we like to call it UMOS. with the most restrictive visitation is therapeutic. That is when a therapist is supervising the family visits. That is very, very restricted because DHS is not in the picture. The therapist is the ones that have to come in and regulate and monitor that. Supervise is less restrictive than the therapeutic visitation. Supervise is when DHS is literally all eyes and ears. This kid is not leaving DHS's eyesight, near ear, hearing. Even if the parent has to go to the restroom and change the child, or they're using a restroom, DHS is going to be in there supervising that as well. You cannot go anywhere without DHS present. That is how restricted supervised visit is. The other one is observed. Observed is what most child welfare specialists do when we are supervising that family time. Observed mean basically the family is in the room, then we're in normally an observation room looking at the observing the family time, or we're in another room watching and hearing what's going on the screen. So we're still nearby to intervene, but we're not directly in the room of the parents. That's observed. Monitored is very, very low risk, I like to say. It's less restrictive. Observed is when monitored. Monitored is when basically a DHS specialist or foster parent or a kinship, anybody that is approved to monitor visits, they're there, but they're in and out. You're not there 24/7. You could be in your car doing your own thing. You can walk around a block, come and check in, how you doing, for about 5 to 10 minutes, and you can step out and you trust that parent fully. Unsupervised visits is exactly what it is. It's unsupervised. DHS is not in the picture at all. We might provide transportation to those family visits, but a lot of times we try to organize that with our resource parents so they can start working on that relationship, organizing it, but we're still putting it in a family time plan where the pickup location is, drop off. Do they need to be fed before coming home? How long that visit is. Unsupervised is basically you're closer to a child reunification case. When we're looking at unsupervised visits, DHS basically saying is there's really not really much safety threats. We probably have certain concerns, but the safety threat has been eliminated. So we're moving towards that reunification process. And like I said, that is all done with the help and collaborating with you, foster care, resource, permanency, and the parents of the case.
Hey, Stacy. Angela asked, I don't know if you saw it, she asked a question, does DHS support guardianship and non-kinship? And also, can you, while I'm thinking about it, can you tell them kind of what those safety thresholds, like why the safety threats, what are they?
Yes. Okay. So, oh Lord, geez, y'all bringing out my CPS side.
Yeah, sorry, I just put a loaded question at you. Sorry.
All righty, one moment. Let me just pull up my handy dandy form, okay? But to answer Angela's questions, does DHS support guardianships? Yes, we do. We are moving towards doing more guardianships now than we have done in the past. And I can definitely send in information on that as well. So far I've done 2 guardianships, one funded, one non-funded, and we're constantly getting updated information. So yes, guardianship is a form of permanency. And so we are starting to recognize that, and we're starting to do more of those. Let me pull up my little cheat sheet.
I say, Stacy, as you were checking on your dog, I'm gonna go check on the kids. It sounds like they're making a big mess, so I'll be right
Oh,
back.
no problem. Go for it. Okay.
Can I say this while Stacy's looking for something?
Yes.
We also, when you start talking about guardianships, we also still want to pay a close attention to the age of the child. Stacy works with teenagers, so we will do guardianships. Stacy's the queen of guardianships. We do more guardianships with older children. We still are trying as an agency not to do as many guardianships with smaller children if we have the ability to do an adoption. So it may call for everybody. If you're trying to do a guardianship of a younger child that can be adopted, it's a lot of conversations that need to be had, I'm sorry, in order to everybody to get to that point where they're going to agree.
Right, and that is very important, because when we are moving to a guardianship, it has to have certain wording in the court minute. And that wording is that adoption efforts have been exhausted in order for us to move forward with a guardianship. So definitely, if it's younger children, there's going to be a lot of questions revolving around that information on what that's going to look like, what this permanency long-term goal looks like. So yes, I do work a lot. My teens, they're teenagers. They're hard to find placements or long-term, and some of them just hear the word adopting and they get so afraid of that word. But you say, oh, your parents' rights are not going to be terminated. We're just going to be, you won't be in DHS custody. You're still get the resources and the services that you need, but you just won't be in DHS custody. My oldest kids, which I deal with from 14 to 20, I got a 20-year-old on one of my caseloads. They're more prone to a guardianship sometimes before they are adoption. So yes, younger children, is going to be a lot of communication, because at the end of the day, guardianship, the parents' rights are still intact. And if something goes wrong, south, those kids probably end up back with parents, and they probably are not going to be safe. We don't know. So there'll be a lot of assessing of that. All righty, I have my form here when I am saying safety threats. There are many different safety threats. What there's 7 or 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 safety threats that we have. And in order for us to say that there is a safety threat, it has to meet 5 thresholds. And that 5 thresholds, which Rhonda Miles, I came from Rhonda Miles. She was my supervisor for many years, and how she got me to help learn the safety threats is the word SOOVI. SOOVI. SOOVI means severe. It has to meet all 5. Severe, out of control, observable, vulnerability, and intimate. It have to meet all 5 of those to basically say it is a safety threat. There are times where it doesn't meet all 5 of those. So say, for instance, let me see. I'm trying to think of a case where I have it meeting some of them, but not all three, not all five. So say for instance, mom was using drugs. She's young. Let's say she is 25 and excuse me, she is pregnant and she uses, I'm not gonna say meth for the first time. I'm gonna say she used, let's say amphetamines. Give birth, baby tests positive for amphetamines. Well, we know it's observable because we can see on the baby's blood core that baby tests positive. It's vulnerable because this is an infant and she's just tested positive. She's having not really withdrawals, but we definitely know that she cannot care for herself if mom is using. She needs someone to have the ability to care for her. She cannot take care of herself. However, we cannot prove if it's out of control if mom and all of her support and people around her are saying this is not her behavior. She normally goes to work, she does X, Y, and Z. She is on a straight path. She's a teacher. She does this. If we cannot see that there is a history or a pattern to show that it is severe, to show that it's intimate, it doesn't meet all 5 of those safety thresholds. Therefore, we have no safety threat. But it could have been a one isolated incident, depending on what the story is, or it just happened that one time and she's learning from her mistake. So it has to meet all 5 of those in order to say a safety threat. And what our safety threats fall under is unable and willing to protect the child from harm. Basically, if a parent cannot apply the basic safety measures, and that's such as keeping up with medication, parents cannot provide the basic needs for the child. The parent has a little of no knowledge of the children. So we have several different categories that safety threat categories that can fall on. But at the end of the day, it has to meet all 5 of those safety threats to say a kid is safe. If it doesn't meet all those 5, then we assess, we ask more questions. There's sometimes still concerns, but they're not safety threats. So we can probably most likely work those concerns out through different type of services, home-based services, therapy, parenting, mental health consultants, just putting a little bit more services in there to help help the parents grasp the concepts of what's going on and what we need to work on. Does that help you all understand safety threats a little bit better? So that's the same. If any of you all have had a referral on the home, it's the same. We are assessing the safety. We're using those safety thresholds. When we're having those 10-day staffings, we're using that information to see, hey, if this is a safety threat that we need to remove the kid from the home, or is something that we could do a written plan of compliance to address the concerns of the home. So, I mean, even though we use it for our parents, we use it also, I mean, like I said, when we are assessing your homes as well, if there is ever a referral called on your home. Okay. Oh, Angela, I see that you said that it makes sense the child is 2 years old. Anything you can provide on a safety threats would be, yes. I can provide information regarding our safety threats as well, to help you all better understand that. And one of the things that I would like for you all to take from this, you are valued. We cannot do this job without you, resource parents. You all are definitely taking in the responsibility, caring for someone else's child, not knowing their environment and everything, their history, their adverse situations that they're coming from. And you're taking these kids in, loving them, parenting them, giving them the nurture that they need, with DHS having the hopes of them returning home. It's not always possible for a child to return home, even though I will fight nails and I will fight through teeth and everything else to get a kid to go home if that home is safe. But we know sometimes it's not safe for that kid to go home. So thank you, because it's not easy. It is not easy at all being a resource parent and having DHS constantly in and out of the house, going to court, taking so long with court hearings to get a permanency decision made or to have jury trials on cases. Things get pushed out and sometimes it feels like no one is listening. Just know your permanency workers are listening. At the end of the day, we are listening, but there is certain guidelines in a policy in courts. A lot of it all gets mushed together that makes it seems like you're by yourself. You are not alone in this process. And it is great that you are with the agency that provide additional support to help you all. So if there's anything that you can take from this meeting, I would highly recommend you all, if you all are not doing, or those workers are not doing those CHUB behavioral screeners and your kids are having behavioral issues, ask for one. Ask for them to do it, because that is going to definitely make a difference. If you're having to go through all these different services and your kid is possibly needing enhanced foster care, that would be a very big support for not only the child, but for you as well. Attend those family team meetings to be that voice, and attend court to also be that voice. At the end of the day, we are fighting for the common goal, and that's the best interest of this child. We might not see eye to eye and agree to everything, but at the end of the day, everybody wants what's best for the child. So that is the end of the information. I will get with Ruth to send information about the behavioral screeners, our guardianship information, court reports for resource parents, and information about our safety threats and thresholds to get a better understanding of that. And the guide for our form for travel claims.
On that travel claim form, does it have the email address on there where the family can send it to?
The families will send it actually to the permanency specialists. They're the ones to handle that. Okay,
yeah. So I've heard a lot, well, not a lot, but I've had some recent things come up with the travel form, and they've asked their permanency worker and they've been told the permanency worker didn't know what it was.
and I'm one of those. I was one of those.
Yeah.
Most of us don't know how to do a foster parent travel claim. I had to learn the hard way. There is a form. Foster parents do have to fill out a vendor form first so they can have a PIN in order to be paid. And then that form, the foster care travel form. But yeah, they'll send it to us, and then I will also supply you, Ruth. When they send to me, it's always best that they CC their foster care worker, because I can send you the link I don't know if you all would want to take on that responsibility, but I can send you the link to the foster care travel claim. The biggest mistake that I've made in the past, not knowing that foster parents needed to fill out that vendor form. So I had a foster parents was send in a whole year, and she never got paid for a whole year and a half, to only realize that she didn't get paid because she never had the vendor form filled out.
Yeah, if you could send both, that'd be super helpful, because we're learning the hard way. Just because of lack of education on it, because we've not been trained about it.
And that's here. I learned the hard way about it, and it was difficult getting her paid for all those years that she was fostering. And I mean, she transported from deep Purcell, all the way to Oklahoma City and back. So that was a lot of lost money.
Yep.
So yes, I will make sure you all get that information. And also I can send out a little cheat sheet of our MIC reviews that we should, our parents. So you're not shocked. So you resource parents are not shocked when these questions are being asked, and it seems like it's repetitive, because it is. We're going to ask certain questions every single month, and you're going to be like, I'm tired of asking these questions. But it is a reason to the madness that we have to ask those questions. Anything else?
I don't think so. I don't know. It's pretty quiet around here, guys. Anything? Melinda, I'm gonna call you out. Can't hear you. Unmute yourself. No.
She said she don't know how. She was like, I don't.
Oh, you don't know how. Gonna have to train you on that, Melinda. I don't read lips. I don't do very well there.
I can see the body language.
I think I figured it out.
Oh, yeah,
I'm too old for this.
I was having trouble at first hearing.
I just want to apologize for getting on here so late.
Oh, you're fine.
It's been great. I've enjoyed it, and thank you so much for your time, Staci.
You're welcome. And I mean, you Oklahoma folks, Oklahoma County folks, if y'all have, and I said Oklahoma not to discriminate against anybody else, it's just that different courts work different from Oklahoma County. So I know how the Oklahoma County court system works. So if y'all have any questions, any different follow-up questions that y'all may have, y'all can always reach out to me and ask those questions, and I'll be more than welcome to help you out.
Thank you.
Anastasia, Michael and Rhonda Bryan we was having trouble in the beginning getting it, but we were here, just couldn't respond.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hey, listen, this technology, it's great because, it's virtual, so you can do it anytime while you're doing other stuff. But sometimes,
yes,
yeah, you can't hear, you can't see. Sometimes at first I was like, what's going on? I couldn't hear anybody.
What was the title? I missed that.
The title of this is just I mean, I didn't have a title really.
I mean, we were calling it the ins and outs of DHS.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
I'll send you a certificate for you to have that as well, Michael. But yeah, that's what we were calling
Okay.
it here.
There's a lot of in and outs. But I wanted to focus more on the behavioral screeners because I have a family that's with y'all right now that I'm just finding out kid is having so much behavioral issues and they're already doing so much services. And I'm like, they're not even getting difficulty of care. And I'm like, hold on, what? Let me go ahead and add this to the list because probably you all don't know what EF services is, and that's enhanced foster care, your treatment home. If your kids is out there and you are doing all those services and their scores are elevated, why not get the additional support that these kids need? You're already out there doing it anyway.
Absolutely.
It's just going to add one more meeting to your schedule. It's virtual. Oh, it is. It does come with additional training though.
Yes.
I left that out. I did leave that out. So
Yeah,
how many, 27 hours of resource foster care training, right?
So that's 27 hours as a guiding principles. The
Guiding principles.
Ridge
So this is
EFT
18.
is
EFC
15 hours.
15
Presley
hours.
Ridge training.
Yes, 15 hours of additional training that you have to go through.
Yes, me and my wife done that. It was very good training.
Very
We
good.
actually have a couple of EFC children now. We have 3 right now. Yeah, we have 5 altogether, but 3 of them are EFC kids, and it's been very beneficial.
Yes, definitely been beneficial, and it just helps. You know, I like to say it reprograms your mindset on how you react to certain behaviors.
Yes.
I know that it definitely helped with the foster kid that I had in my home because I like to say my parenting style is somewhat strict. I'm going to say a little bit my personal. I hold education, customer service, respect very high for my child. She goes to a private Christian school. I hold it very high. Now, getting a behavioral child that has been through the detention center, constantly in trouble. He struggled with drugs and alcohol. I had to cater my parenting different towards him. And how I was able to do that is through that EFC training and that home-based wraparound training. I would not have lasted without that background education of those trainings because I was like, listen, it's going to be a control issue. I'm going to try to control him right here and he's just going to pull the opposite way and it's not going to be beneficial. But at the end of the day, they just reconnect sometimes to that wrong crowd and
Yes.
go south. But that is amazing services. And I feel that it is beneficial if your kids
Okay.
qualify, take advantage.
Yes.
Hello,
And
beautiful.
the Circle of Care lady, what was your name?
My name is Ruth Goldberg. I'm the regional program director here in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
And I can't remember which you're in you're in Tulsa or Woodward area. I want to say
No,
Tulsa.
we're in the Woodward area.
Woodward
This
area.
is Michael and Rhonda Brown. We're with Circle of Care, but I was just wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, I was totally off. I knew you were one of the directions.
Yes. No. What is the limit of before you have to do overfill in a home? How many kids is it? 5, and then it's overfill after that?
So it's a total of 6 foster, adoptive, and bio total kids. And then after that, we have to do an overfill.
Okay. How about EFC kids? Is there a limit that you can have in your home at one time, or?
Yes. So anything after 2, it has to be staffed with foster care in permanency. And it
Okay.
has to be an overfilled, basically, type of deal.
Right. No, I was just curious. I mean, we're doing fine with it, but
Yeah. Yeah, I have a home also there is a sibling set,
Yeah.
adoption, 2 teenagers, 1 3-year-old, and we were thought that the teenagers were difficult, but after they have became stable and got into their forever home, they're doing much great. but our 3-year-old is having behavioral issues. So we just had to add EFC to the 3-year-old and try to just get her stabilized so it can be a successful adoption. So definitely it's able. We just gotta staff it. Over to it's just a staff. And I can tell you right now, I mean, Oklahoma County, we need homes. I don't know.
Well, I know we can
what it look like.
hold up to 7. We can hold up to 7 kids. We've only got 5 right now, and I didn't know what the limit was, or you know, if they come to us and said, "Hey, we like to do sibling sets," and if they come up to say, "Hey, I got a little boy and a little girl, could you take them?" and we say we take them, and then our agency or somebody says, "Oh, you can't handle it," or whatever. How does that work? I mean, I don't know who makes that call.
So I'd have to look and see who your family specialist is, but your family specialist will staff with their supervisor there in Woodward. And then we can talk more about that with your family specialist, but they're the ones that kind of help work with you and figure out, you know, if it's a good fit or what's a good idea for your home.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So is that with the family specialist? That's the lady that comes once a month and has her visits. Right?
That's one of them. Yeah, that's with Circle of Care, and then the DHS worker for the kids come to your home.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Okay. Now I was just curious how that all worked. We're a little bit new at it. We've been doing it for a couple of years now. We're on, you know, but just had some questions there. So.
Oh no, questions are good.
Yeah, yeah. Because we'd like to feel our, you know, we do this as a ministry, and we'd like to take advantage of all the space that we have. What I'm trying to say, I guess.
No, I understand. No, that's definitely a thing, and I can have your specialist get with you and talk some more about it. But I don't know your situation directly.
Right. No, that's fine. Just some questions we had. We're doing great with it and everything. We were just wondering how that all worked.
Yep.
So it's a 6, and anything over 6 is an overfill.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I know when it comes to our kiddos and DHS foster care, we definitely, you know, look at those behaviors and what the other behaviors are in the home, because we know sometimes you all are ministries of this and it's a calling. But sometimes it takes somebody on the outside and be like, no, we're not going to do this, because if something happened and there's another kid that could possibly clash or those behaviors, we risk the whole home shut down. And then that's going to be 6 or 7 kids without a placement because of a certain behavior. So definitely they look at everything when they're making those decisions.
Right. Now our stress level usually is around a 2 most of the time. I mean, I stay home with my wife. We do this together all day, and I pastor a little church, so you know I don't have to go out and work 8 to 10 hours and then come home and help. So yeah, just curious how that all worked. That's all.
Yes. So I'm curious, what's the ages of your home, Michael?
My home, we've got an 8-year-old boy, a 6-year-old boy, a 5-year-old girl, and a 4-year-old girl, and those are all brothers and sisters. And then we have a 5-year-old little boy that we've had for a couple of years now, and he's getting ready to go home with Dad next month. And we have 3 of those kids are on EFC. In our home, we have them on EFC, and they're doing great. They're all doing good. They're all in school except for one little girl. She's we're trying to get her in preschool, but they have to wait for an opening. But they're all doing good. But yeah, that's my age group. We kind of try to stay with the younger ones. You probably hear that a lot, but yeah, we like this 8-year-old that we've got. He's been our oldest one so far, and he's doing good.
I'm like, honey, a teenager, it takes a special family, a special worker to even work with teenagers.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. I'm glad workers, they prefer to work with teens, because I mean, at the end of the day, they're little humans. They're already little humans.
Yeah, we raised 7 kids of our own, so we know all about teenagers.
Yeah.
But you know, so when we felt like the Lord wanted us to do this, we bought this big home here and just want to fill it up with younger kids. I feel like we can invest in them and get them somewhere in life later on at some point, to help them along through a hard time for them.
Yes, yes. All righty, Heidi, what's your age group?
So we have an adopted 12-year-old.
Oh, you unmuted yourself, but I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me?
Oh,
I hear
Can
her.
you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay. I don't know what I did. So we have 2 bio kids, 15 and 13.
You just went out again.
Yeah, your sound. is
Heidi, can
very
I help you out, Heidi? Age 1 to 12. Yeah, Heidi's
You have
age
a
is 1 to
12-year-old.
they currently they take ages 1 to 12 and they currently have a 7-year-old.
7.
Yeah.
Okay. And I see Russell and Holly, you all will take teens. Y'all have any teens right now?
We don't currently have any right now. We have been on a pause for just a little bit to take care of some things. But we opened back up yesterday, and we got to take typically 11 to about 15 or 16. Sorry, my dogs are wrestling.
I
They're
don't see
loud.
many of you all. I don't see many of a resource agency who has teens. This is amazing news to hear. What county are you out of?
We're out of Harper County. Our circle of care worker comes from Woodward County.
Woodward. That is good. That is a difficult age group, but it's so rewarding as well. And there's so much services. So if you need any information on independent living, OSCA, and what all entails in that, get with Ruth and me, and I can get you all the details.
Thank you.
I can get you everything. All
Yeah,
righty.
we're pleased with our circle of care. We're with Circle of Care in Dewey County. Question was, if you are just a straight DHS home, you can still have EFC children in your home, correct?
Yes, yes. I was a
I
DHS
thought
home
so.
with EFC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just curious. Sorry for all the questions.
Oh no, you're fine. Sarah.
Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm doing well. So how many kiddos you have?
So we do not have any children in our, well, we have our bio children in our home. We do not have any foster children in our home at this time. We are still an open home, but we are on hold. We had a displacement after almost a year, and we were headed for adoption. And so that really rocked our family pretty difficult. And so we, through the guidance of our fearless leader, Ruth and Tiffany, it was best that our family take a step back and just really make sure that we're taking care of my 2 girls. We have a 10-year-old bio daughter and a 6-year-old, almost 6-year-old bio daughter. But we are on track to be reopening hopefully by the end of the year. We're trying to get some medical stuff and other things taken care of, and then we'll be reopening hopefully permanently. But in the meantime, we're also going to be yes, I'm talking about you.
Yes.
But in the meantime, we're going to also be reopening before too long, hopefully, fingers crossed, to do respite again. So that's kind of where we're at. We've kind of been all over the place on what ages we will take. There for a while, we were only doing littles, and we said we would go older. But I think now we're going back down to littles just for the sake of our 6-year-old. Until she's at least a little bit older to understand everything, and then we'll consider going back to teens. So
Well, that's good as always. I mean,
That's the only thing
definitely
we,
okay to take a break after a heart, because at the end of the day, that you all take these kids in, you love them like their own, your own. They become your family.
absolutely.
It was really hard. I mean, right before this meeting, mine is in the detention center. He's looking at a minimum of 10 years, that's still my son. Like I said, you can't physically be in my home. But I am here every step of the way. I hate seeing him in shackles. I hate it, but you gotta own up to you gotta be held accountable. And I am still here to love and support you and still speak positivity in you. So that is great that you take a break, because you better than me. Because I'm like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. My heart is broken.
Well,
I will
we really
never go
struggled.
through any of that again.
I know Circle of Care has been really.
We really struggled, and we thought we were ready. And we told Circle of Care that yes, we're ready. Let's do this. And we had a sweet little 3-pack of children, as I like to say, who were needing a permanent custody home. And we said, yeah, we feel like this is the direction that God's leading us. Let's give it a whirl. And, unfortunately, things did not work out in that situation. But at the same time, it was revealed during that time is when we found that you really do have to take time for yourself. You think that you might be ready, or you think that your family is ready. But in all actuality, just a matter of weeks is not enough time to heal physically and emotionally and even mentally. Because we also have to be, as foster parents, I feel like we have to be our best for these kids. These kids need us in some of their weakest times. And so we're supposed to be there to lift them up. And so how am I supposed to lift a child up, that's hurting when I'm hurting? And so it was definitely a hard pill to swallow for Justin and I, and even for our kids. And, because they've always asked, okay, when is our next brother or sister coming? And, trying to explain that, when we feel like the time is right, and we went through therapy and everything for it too, just to try to heal as a family. So I think that, what you said too, Staci, is 100% accurate. They're still our kids no matter what at the end of the day. We still consider them ours, and it doesn't matter if you had them one day or if you had them a year like we did, they're still a part of your family.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Circle of Care has been really good for us. We really appreciated them, and we actually appreciate it very much. The only drawback, we live in Sealing. There's no respite out here. I mean, none. There's no. It's just hard to find anybody to watch your kids. So we do okay with it, but now once a month there's some churches up in Woodward that do a 2-hour respite, and we take advantage of that. But if I wanted to take my wife for a weekend or a couple of days somewhere, that's pretty much impossible because there's no place.
Are you aware of prudent parenting?
Or what now?
Are you aware of the prudent parenting?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, that's going to be added to our list of information. Prudent parenting, meaning that if you have a friend, anybody over the age of 16 can watch the kids, but any church members, they can watch your kids without a background check for 7 days.
Okay, yes. I mean, our daughters helped us out some, but
and there's also sometimes there's vouchers, foster care vouchers to help pay this assistance to people depending on the age. Yeah. So I mean,
Circle of Care does pay. They help if you can find respite. They help with that, which is very, very. Our daughter, we've took advantage of it with our daughter, and it's just, but it's hard out here. There's just not very many people that are willing to jump on. When you tell them, well, I've got 5, they'll say, yeah, we'll watch your kid. But well, I got 5 of them, and they're like, oh well, I don't know if I can do 5.
And it's okay. I have cases where I had to. 1 went here, 2 went there, 2 went there. That is okay. As long as you can find a handful of people that's willing to step in, because at the end of the day, no matter if you're a foster parent or just a parent to your bio kids, you need a break. I mean,
Yeah, you
some
do.
people love parenting. They gotta be with their kids 24/7 and call. I'm not codependent. I need a break from my child. So you gotta go somewhere because I need to take a
Yeah.
weekend break. So yes, I would highly recommend use your church family, and if you could just
Yes.
find 3 of them to break it up, roll with the punches.
Yes.
Take
No,
that.
we're doing fine with it. It's just, you know, respite
Yeah.
trip. We don't, not like living in the city, and there's probably a lot of respite people around there.
I wish there's not even a lot of respite here.
Really?
We have trouble finding respite homes. And in fact, what I utilize is my foster families. So I contact my other foster families like, hey, can this kid sleep on your couch for the weekend? Especially within
Right.
the agencies, like I can call Jasmine with Circles of Care. I'm like, hey, you know, this family is going on this trip. Can this family watch these kids? What that's the great part about an agency compared to DHS.
Right.
The agency, they have more family and they have a better relationship to help find that respite within y'all own community. With DHS homes, it's all on the permanency worker most of the times. And so I just contact other foster parents. I contact, utilize I talk to the friends, the actually child themselves, like, hey, do you have a friend at school? We want these kids to have as normal lifestyle as possible. So if your other kids go spend a night with friends, let that kid go spend a night with a friend. But I'm that parent that don't allow my daughter to go spend a night with friends. They got to come here. So that's different. But I mean, but definitely utilize, just talk to them if that's what you allow. Hey, go spend a night with a friend this weekend. Y'all can all go spend a night with friends this weekend. And just, you know, if they have behavioral issues, just making sure that we're upfront about those behaviors and that they know how to handle those or know who to call when an emergency arises. But self-care is very, very important to all of us.
We take advantage of everything we can, for sure.
Yes. All righty, Melinda, how many kiddos do you have and what's the age group?
If she can find the mute. Oh, she's trying to find the mute. So she lives in one of our Shawnee sibling homes. I'll wait for Maribel to help her find the unmute button. Oh, and we lost the face. Hi, Maribel. Anyways.
We got it.
Okay, I'll let her finish speaking.
I keep losing it. So I have a sibling set of 7, 2 of which we have adopted. And we're going to adopt the other 5 very, very soon as everything is in place. And then this little guy, he was a private adoption. So I have 8 in the home. Well,
Wow.
7 in the home because 1 is in college. She lives at the dorm, but she's here all the time. She's 20 minutes away.
That's amazing.
That I have amazing children. Everybody says, you're a blessing. You're such an amazing family. We are an amazing family, but not because of my husband and I, because of our children. We have an 18-year-old, a 15-year-old who will be, she will be quick to tell me she's going to be 16 in 19 days. So, and then we have a 12-year-old girl, a 10-year-old boy, a 7-year-old girl, and 5-year-old twins. And then Jack is 3.
Mike's 11.
Oh, Mike's 11. I'm sorry. He's not 10. He's 11.
11.
They're all wonderful, wonderful kids.
Hello.
And Ruth can tell you how great they are. They are phenomenal. They're the bravest, most courageous, strongest people I have ever met in my entire life, honestly. So they're wonderful. And then I have 3 biological children that are grown and 3 beautiful grandbabies.
Wow.
And a wonderful agency in Circle of Care who takes wonderful care of us.
Oh,
We've
yeah,
been with
they
them
do.
for 4 or 5 years now. I don't know, a long time.
Wow, and many more to come.
Yes, yes. After we get finished, we live, like Ruth said, we live in a sibling home here in Shawnee, and we're gonna get kicked out because we're adopting everybody. But
We like that.
but we're not gonna get kicked out. We're gonna continue to foster, which is very exciting for us because we feel called to foster, and we don't ever want to stop, as long as we can. And our children, Maribel, the one that you saw here just now, she's my 15, soon to be 16-year-old. She wants to be a foster parent when she grows up, and all the kids are super excited about bringing in more foster kids, except for Mike, who is the only kid in the house that has his own room, and he's kind of used to having his own room now, so he's not sure about sharing it, but he'll get over it.
Is Maribel participating in OSCA, Independent Living Services?
We haven't done a whole lot with that. I think that we did sign her up, but we tried to reach out to OXA for our oldest daughter and was never successful at getting
Is she in
anything.
driver's education yet?
She already took it.
She already took it? Okay.
And that's the problem we had. We signed her up. Well, we bought her a car and was
Hold on, when
told
did you
that
buy her the car?
we bought her the car back in February or something.
Back in
And then-
February.
but it was told
DHS
that,
offers a incentive for a car payment, for a car.
oh, really?
Yes, up to
Well,
$2,500.
We tried through OXA for that, and they said that they will not reimburse you after you buy it.
You said after you buy it?
Yeah, because we bought it, and because we found it on a weekend, it was a really good deal, so we couldn't pass it up. We went and bought it, and then came back, and my husband went to try to get the OXA, do the application or whatever, and he talked to somebody, and they said, well, no, you have to have all the information and then apply for it, and then we'll send you the money. You can put it towards it, but we will not reimburse. Well, the used car market today, you can't sit on a car. No, unless you have mine from someone that they're not going to say, oh, I'll hold it until you get this bureaucratic paperwork or whatever.
Does she have license already?
Not yet. She'll get them in December.
Should get her this. Okay. So what I'm gonna add that to my list, to my to-do list.
That's
I'm
awesome.
gonna follow up with my OSCA team because I always tell my families that they possibly get reimbursed. So I will definitely follow up on that question. But I do know that she will have to have her license, driving license, in order, I believe, to be reimbursed. So I'm gonna add that to my list.
Yeah.
If you get a child and you adopt a child, what happens? Just a question. What happens to the stipend that you receive to help each month? Do you lose that, or
If
once you adopt that child? Yeah.
No, if you adopt a child, you will still, if they qualify
Yes.
for that adoption subsidy, they have to qualify for it. They will still receive that up until their 18th birthday. But
What's the qualifications on that? If they're in foster care, that's not a qualification, or I mean, how does that work? How does that work? How do they qualify for that? I'm just curious.
I mean, they have to, if they're a tribal of the member, if they're a sibling set, that's how they qualify. I had a child that I didn't even know got adopted, had medical issues, and didn't qualify for the stipend until that child was adopted. Mom gave birth to another kid, and they're like, oh, now it's a sibling group. The family's about to adopt the second one. They qualify. So not all kids qualify for the adoption stipend.
Oh, baby.
Right.
Oh.
But if they qualify, you basically get that amount up until their 18th birthday. Different age groups qualify for a higher payment. And then that's when you'll reach out to your adoption worker to request for that increased payment. Other than that, it will stay at the constant rate. It don't automatically change for some reason. DHS just makes you
That's just-
contact them.
Now we're doing perfectly fine with everything. But with the inflation, the way it's gone in different directions, is the state do they ever think about, we're going to have to up the stipend just a little bit because the food's gone through the roof?
We got
Yeah.
a raise last year, wasn't it? Or the year before? There was a raise.
Now
Yeah,
that,
I'm not sure.
yeah, now those information is above my pay raise. That happens at the legislative area, the organization area. They decide what that amount goes, and it's tied to federal dollars. It's all tied
Right.
to federal dollars. And what we do know is that we don't see it, but there are less children coming into custody. More teenagers. I mean, they're just getting abandoned and left and right. But there are less kids coming into custody since 2019. So I don't know. I know when I was fostering up till recently, they gave those $250 assistance like every quarterly. I don't know if they still do that. That was definitely helpful. They added the kid care and the daycare for the older kids. That's been helpful, but like I said, that was all government funded programs on grants. So once that money is out, it's out. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm just curious. Circle of Care has a lot of nice reimbursements too. So I mean, they take care of us, but I was just curious.
And I don't know, Ruth can maybe talk on it because my specialty is permanency, not foster care. There's an incentive going out for recruiting foster parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there is. And without me pulling the thing exactly up, DHS is offering incentive to foster families to, in a sense, I believe, refer their friends and family, whatever the case may be. I need to look at the exact detail of it, but yeah, it's like $1,000 referral bonus. And I know Circle of Care, we've always done this. If, like, let's say Melinda refers one of her adult daughters to foster, her daughter makes it through the process of becoming a foster parent, and then we would give Melinda a reimbursement up to like $250, I believe. So there's different stages we reimburse that, but if you waited till the very end of that stage of her daughter being approved as a foster parent, then it'd be like $250, I believe, something like that, to go to Melinda. So there is some incentives, but the people have to make it through.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
These just curious questions.
For all y'all made it through. I didn't know if I was gonna make it through the first nor the second time, okay? Because there was too much paperwork to get in at a certain amount of times. And I was like, I'm done. Home study was like a psyche valve. I was like,
Absolutely.
when is it over? Oh yes, I worked so hard that first 3 months submitting paperwork get lost, submitted again, paperwork. You need a change of workers. Yeah, I went through the whole hash.
Yeah,
And I said,
we're trying to get ICWA certified, and that's been quite a challenge too. For the tribal.
Oh yeah, that's a whole new ball. That's a whole new ball game.
Yeah, that's a whole nother meeting.
Yeah. Well, I think I've taken up much of y'all's time. I don't know how many hours y'all are going to receive for this, but I hope it's more than 2. And if y'all, like I said, if y'all have any more questions, I'll be working on getting this stuff sent out to Ruth tomorrow. But like I said, I'm gonna put my email address in this chat. If y'all have any questions, especially if it ties to permanency, you can definitely reach out to me.
Yes. Well, it's
I'm
nice to
not
meet you,
trying
ladies.
to overstep the roles of your permanency specialist or that supervisor, but if it's a general question, I mean, you can definitely reach out. Let me make sure I spelled my name right. It's a long name.
Thank you, ladies. Y'all have a blessed evening.
Thank you. You all
Thank you
have
for
a great
coming on.
night.
Yep.
Bye,
Thank y'all.
Chad.
Bye.
Nice
Thank
to
you,
meet you all.
Heidi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice, nice to meet you, Ruth.
Nice to meet you guys. Well, thank you. Oh, hold on. Thank you so much for coming on, Staci.
Anytime, anytime. I'm gonna give y'all our safety guideline book. That's gonna definitely address a lot of how we assess safety and how we make those decisions. And it gives examples of like ALCSs and stuff like that. So I think that would be helpful for, you know, some of the families to get that back